and willing to explore 5 running, as 5 racers who are very, very good individually, like, and much better than racers were in the past when like bagging was coming to the forefront. I wonder if I wonder if there's a path to making it more viable, basically.
Yeah, there definitely is. Not to go on too into a tangent because the race is starting, but basically, what you said about being unexplored is really true in that there is room to explore. However, it's definitely course-based, and for this example, I think Denmark is going to really struggle here unless they get to the 9th, because all running, one of the largest counters to all running is cannons, because it doesn't matter, like, you can try to predict the shock like all you want, but really, like, at the end of the day, if you can give a dodge to anybody in the room in any spot when they can be holding any item, it doesn't matter. You can't, when you're all running, you want to hit the items out of the bottom spots, but you can't get the other team out of top 2 without a shock or a bunch of blues.
For sure.
Yeah, here we are. On the net of lap 1 of Maple Treeway, do not know what is going on in the top spots. It looks like we have Yasu holding a bill in 9th. That means that Denmark's not going to have access to the shock. Looks like he's using it, predicting that LTA might have tried for a lap 2 shock in the cannon, but to no avail. Maybe he'll be able to cheese it here in 9th unless LTA is holding it for a lap 2 cannon shock. Depending on the top spots, it looks like Denmark has a good amount of bottom, so maybe they're just going to really bank on trying to hold these dodges, because really what they have to do is make sure they have like 1 or 2 people like clouding up these like bottom 3 running spots, holding these dodges for the race. It seems like LTA is bottom 2 right now. Denmark just going to go shockless on the cannon course. We'll see how that turns out in this upcoming cannon on lap 3.
Yeah, this is an interesting start to the race. This like confirmed that they indeed are doing it on a cannon track, no less, as you mentioned before. But Yasu just had a hard time right there. That's too bad. We'll go to Mike with his Mega in 4th right now. Great to have this dodge in such a high spot, and they almost have shock for sure, especially with Denmark getting that bill or so early on. I think the thing with that bill too is he did use it rather quickly, but I think there was enough time for LTA's bagger to be able to grab it, and if not, there were 2 more laps with him in 10th. So plenty of time on their side. Denmark controlling a decent amount of the top spots at the moment. It looks like Gomez is in 2nd or 1st. I think LTA might just be holding this. Yeah, Mike's going to dodge at the end. Gomez is going to finish. Ice getting caught with the bomb. And LTA starting off with a decently strong race. Brawley closing in on like 5th or 6th, it looks like.
Yeah, it seems they just opted to not go for the cannon shock and just ended up just holding it. I believe... Oh, no, Denmark, actually, with the top 2 there. Yeah, I thought they were just going to hold shock because I thought they had, like, a 2-3 or, like, a 1-3 down or some sort. But no, it seemed that Denmark was in the top spots. I don't know if LTA struggled. I imagine LTA struggled to get to the shock to the last second, because if Denmark was really that, like, part of top spots and Mike had that Mega for so long, I feel like they would have wanted to chain it earlier. That way he could have ended up breaking into that top 3, but to no avail. And Denmark's going to finish with the top 2 all running on a cannon course. That is really good for them, honestly. Really good.
This is absolutely crazy, because it just stands against like every bit of analysis from the beginning. Which is so odd that they would be able to succeed like that. Because I think LTA had the shock. It came so late. I don't know why you wouldn't like opt for an earlier shock. Maybe he just was that unlucky and he didn't get it until the very end, which, you know, the odds of that happening are super low, but sometimes it does happen. I have to wonder, like, with Gomez it looked like Gomez was in 2nd at the end, and I don't really understand how Gomez gave up his top 2 spot. And also, like, very surprising from Mike that he, like, even though he dodged, he basically closed no distance because of the amount of time left in the race. Like, it was just all very unfortunate.
Yeah, I think if they want to have a good shock with that, they shouldn't have gone for the TS, but if they shocked the top 2 maybe on the net, that would have been better. But either way, we are on to Peach Gardens. This is a course that I think it's all runnable, it's fine, but it's a little bit of a hectic course. It kind of reminds me of a Delfino, where that first cut, and just like the double kind of matters so much. But really what you can do, if you're all running here, is that you can play around that cut and you can if you take those if the other team is over bagging because they have someone going for a shock, you can play around that first set. You can take boxes in the first set, prevent them from dodging, prevent them from taking cut, and if you shut them down, they're just going to be stuck in the back. Don't know what's going to happen here. We have Mike holding up a Mega in 5th, hoping. I see Jaggy is actually playing closer to the pack now, so he might be able to cheese out like a point or two at the end. Trying to watch him to see if we can see the shock status, if we're going to see Denmark end up cheesing 1 in 9th or not. Trying to look at the spots right now. Do not know who's in 1st. I see a Denmark player we're 2-5 on Denmark, I think.
It actually is pretty interesting, the thing you mentioned about Jaggy, because like they the whole reason that suicide bagging exists, right, is because it's like an arms race between the two teams. It's like your incentive to go backwards is built out of the other person going backwards with you. You're trying to beat someone out. So when the other team just opts to 5-run, all of a sudden, I've never really understood like when the opposing team 5-runs, and then the other team proceeds to drop someone back and like go backwards still. It's like, well, the whole reason for you having to go backwards in the first place no longer exists, and you can just kind of trail and follow the pack now.
Yeah, he's definitely doing that, but I don't know if I'm gonna see there's a shock at the end here. Make not chain in the last set, so I'm guessing. Oh nope, there we go. A kind of late shock again, but I think it's gonna get him up there. It looks he's trying to stop Troll. I do not know if he was successful there. He's actually. Oh, he actually ended up. Yeah, that was a free spot he had to Denmark right there in the line, but he ended up throwing because I think he stopped Troll a little too much onto Kasper, I believe. Yeah,
that's a tough spot, I think, because it's kind of a risk-reward situation. I think he actually did get Acme 4th place there, and you have to like wonder, is it was second? It actually maybe comes out to even. If Acme had gotten 5th instead and he had gotten 2nd instead, it's the same amount of points. So he was kind of opting for a play that would provide his team like some sort of net benefit, right? It ends up just equalizing, which is totally fine. I think that he had like the right idea in that if he could cause enough damage, he ultimately like gets his team more points than if he had just gotten 2nd alone. But yeah, that situation comes out to even, totally fine, doesn't really change that much. Yeah, really, I really like to see that sort of like sacrificial team play. It vaguely reminds me of something we saw the other week. I think it was in NA versus EU, where Kasper basically like tossed his race away to chase the bagger around the statue on RPC.
Yes. I remember
and
that.
And I think the thing that's like, it can be easy to forget in like I think the culture that we have in the game and like egos and things like that is that ultimately all that matters is your team winning, and your individual score has no like actual consequence on the outcome other than you contributing to a team score. So you playing for the team is much, much more important.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that play from Mike, because even out in the end, spots-wise, I think it was okay. I was on edge mostly just because I didn't know who was actually first, and I wasn't sure if it was like a Denmark top 2 who was throwing away, just hitting Kasper for getting into first. But no, right now he's got a bomb in first. He's gonna back it immediately. I'm sure that had to hit like more than just those 2 Denmark members, so maybe we got lucky. Trying to look back to see what we got, but I would looks like he might pay for his life here with this red. And yeah, that's top 2 from Denmark right there. Did not actually end up going for the chain.
This is rough. It's another cannon track for them. So I mean, they made it work on the first one, but we'll see how it works out here. Having a top spot like out the gate on this track is super, super important. By the way, I thought I would just briefly update. Apparently, Norway was up by 140 after 2 GPs in the other war. So, very interesting score to hear. But back to this one, Mike just finding himself in 8th place and kind of navigating his way up. I think surprising that we actually have some sort of like bagging dynamic. Maybe they opted on this one because it's a cannon track that someone decided to go backwards. Do you think that's probably the case?
Yeah, you just kind of have to at this point. It's just really hard because I don't know what happened on Maple, but really the thing is that when you have these cannon courses, especially on Maple and stuff like this, or when you're playing It's All Running in general, you want to take advantage of lap 2 shocks. It's not the case now, obviously, because there's a bagging battle, but like when you are playing against an All Running team, you want to use these early lap 2 shocks because you're almost guaranteed to get another. We're going to see what happens here. I would imagine someone has shock because the 2 baggers are going forwards. In the cannon right now, looking to see 1-3 for LTA, but no cannon shock again. The shocks are being held very late the whole war. It's pretty interesting. Sherman second for Yasu, ends up spamming it, I guess, to get away, unless there's going to be... That's a sign of a shock soon, but it's a pretty odd place to shock. Close call on the green there. Can see... Oh, Denmark... Oh, no, I confused the bagger. 1 second. Oh, no ending shock so far. Oh, Make!
Oh, no!
Make almost throwing his life away. Yeah. Looks like Ice is going to end up pulling out 5th with that, and no shock? No shock again. They're just... It's very strange. There just haven't been many shocks, and all the shocks that have been done haven't even been like... They've been like after last set chains. It's really strange.
Yeah, I wonder why. I mean, in the case of that race, right, with the bagging battle, it may have been a little more difficult to kind of like figure out what was... I guess like it is more reasonable that the shock would have come that late in the game, in comparison to the other race where it's like Maple, you're alone in the back. You know, maybe just early shock and get the next one. Yeah, that is very interesting that worked out that way. Not as like honestly, like nothing like dramatically swinging in either team's favor for the moment. For what it's worth, the first 2 races were just back and forth. They were Denmark went up 11, LTA took it back, setting the because they won by 11, and now that was an LTA win by 5. And with 2 cannon tracks out of the way, I wonder if Denmark's strategy starts to come into its own here.
Yeah, the fact that they were able to like survive 2 cannon courses and only be is it down? Yeah, down 5. Denmark down 5. It's pretty crazy. I'm trying to see what... It seems they're going to opt for Kuba Cape. Kuba Cape, probably a decent all-running course. I mean, the all-running course I'm used to picking in my own team of Shy Guy Beach and GC Mari circuit, not the normal courses people pick in wars. I'm not surprised to not see those. We're going to have Kuba Cape. I guess I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm wondering if Jaggy's gonna like keep up with the pack. It seems on Garden he like kept up with the pack, but not really. It was like a strange mix of the two. I don't know. We're gonna see what happens here. First set matters so much here. I'd say this is like one of the courses where like kind of similar to Moonview, where like if there's a back bomb at the beginning, you can just absolutely end the race. Yeah,
it sets you back for so long because I think like without keeping the pack relatively tight and having the shock, often playing from the back is just really, really difficult because there are only so many spots to shroom up. And even the spots where you can shroom up, like this one we're watching right now, like Mike finds himself into first off that golden scratch. But as you can see, like that first section is one of the only spots where you can really do that. And there's this long section at the end of the river and now in the pipe where you don't really have any opportunities to cut big sections of the course off. And then you do have the little waterfall cut at the end, which does often change races quite a bit. But it's kind of a more dynamic shortcut that has some sort of risk to it, where, you know, if the opposing team has shock or another item that can affect you in the waterfall, you risk falling off. Oh, a nice little ground shroom right there. Oh, Yasu barely dodging the green. Mike's just going to see if he can kind of flex this lead and stretch away from Denmark a bit, but Yasu very close behind, has the shroom behind him, probably opting to... Oh, unfortunate wide line there. Yeah. I have to say, I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of what Jaggy is doing, because he's not really keeping up with the pack enough to warrant thinking, like, that he could, like, get a spot above 10th, but he's not sitting there chaining through boxes, unless he already has it, which might be the case. Oh, there we go. Oh. And LTA shock, I saw a lot of people dodging. Might have been more than just LTA members. Probably this might warrant another shock by the end of the race. Looks like Kasper's... Oh, yeah. Kasper and... Idu? I can't... oh, yeah. Yeah, that's Akmi. So we have Kasper in second, Yasu unfortunately getting a little bump there. LTA controlling most of the top spots. I wonder who just climbed their way into second. I couldn't quite see.
I think it was maybe Gomez?
Yeah, Gomez. Because that means the LTA has top 2 for it right now. And this POW could change a decent amount on the last turn. Could give Yasu the space he needs to pass a few people. But at this point, Denmark needs a lot more than that to turn this into a good race.
Trying to see if there's a last second shot coming out, but I think it's a bit too late, and I think LT is going to pull away with this race, top 2 at least. Yasu, I don't think ended up getting to use his POW, seemed to either repass the TC or ended up hitting one of the Koopa Cape Zappers. He ended up just getting 9th out of that, and top 3-8 for LTA. Great race for them. It seems that lap 2 shock just ended up throwing Denmark off, Kasper being the only one to really benefit from it, and he only ended up pulling out 4th by the end. And that's a really good for LTA with deceivingly not used to seeing the all running thing, because that's the thing, is that you have this 50, 36, 34, and then the 1 point from Jaggy, so it's a plus 22 GP for LTA despite the deceiving results.
That's the first GP. It was funny because Denmark started off so strong. Not that the race was like particularly damning for LTA, but it kind of proved that the 5-run strat, this seems viable. We can kind of like make it happen even on the worst of courses. And then it just sort of fell apart over the course of the next 3 races. We'll see if they can get back in it. They're not down by an extraordinary amount at all. And it's very reasonable that they would climb their way back in this little interim that we have. By the way, we do have the results for the match between Norway and Mexico. Norway does take out Mexico 476 to 256. So that's a margin of 220. A little rough. The lowest score on Norway's side being 97. And it'll be interesting to see how Norway performs in the rest of the tournament. We'll get a bit of them versus Germany later today. Unfortunate for Mexico, just a titan of an opponent. But we'll see how the rest of their group goes. We'll kind of wander back over to Denmark versus LTA. What track are we on? I barely missed it. NC4 Brothers Castle. This is a pretty good all-running course. Lots of schlagging opportunities. I really haven't seen much of that coming out for Denmark, but you really have to take advantage of schlagging if you're all-running, because the idea about schlagging and all-running is that you're already playing a 5v4 situation. So if you sacrifice one player on your team to like completely ruining someone else on the other player on the other team's some other player on the other team, excuse me, you're forcing the other team into like a bottom 2 or 8-10 situation automatically, and because of just how the point distribution works, when you have 5 running versus 4, like you're automatically going to be at more of an advantage. So I'd love to see like Denmark members like focusing more on like that hard schlagging. Despite how like stupid it might look, it really does like benefit them in the end, at least points wise. I'm wondering, personally, like this track. How do you feel about it in general? I guess I'm wondering more so like this track seems to be very similar to TF, where teams often like opt to only pick it if they like have a top spot and a mid spot. But I think and like that's probably why you would vote for it here. Is like this is the race where you have the most like interlocked and top spots and bottom spots going into it. I guess like because like it's not a track that you'd pick like if you have top 3. I guess it doesn't really seem like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the beginning is a lot more tactic than people give it credit for. I think 4th, if you are 1-4, I feel like in the same way as TF, you get an easy draft. Not as easy of a draft as TF. Almost a fixed snipe from me. I don't think he got quite the distance. Ended up getting someone behind him.
It still worked out.
I wasn't sure.
He got someone on Denmark. I'm pretty positive.
Oh, okay, it was Denmark. Well, yeah. GC in 5th there from Yasu. I think there's a bagging battle going on this race, if I remember seeing the beginning of the map correctly, though. And star out from LTA. trying to see if Jaggy has it. Strange race right now. Looks like 1-3 from Denmark right now. Grass chain is probably, I imagine, where the shock's going to happen if there is one. Oh, these are some tight backspam from Chéron. Blue coming out for Chéron right now.
Yeah, that's going to be tough because they really need to control these top spots if they don't have shock on their side. And they still have a lot of like positions behind Mike right now, but LTA finding themselves in 1-4, it looked like, from the name I caught behind Mike. I at this point, like, I would be surprised if Jaggy doesn't have it. Like, it's if you're alone in 10th at the back. Oh, yep, there it is, and closing out the race, seeing if they can pick up some spots behind Mike at the end. DK falling a bit at the line. It looked like they might have gotten knocked out of a few of their like top and mid spots. I think they still got second. They were like close enough behind Mike, but we'll see when the results come in.
1-4-5-6 for LTA right there, and that's going to be a winning race for them, I believe, by a little bit maybe. Really, the shocks have been really late, and the reason for that, I could imagine, is just that if Denmark really is trying to capitalize on like all run correctly, they're probably just chaining their dodges lap 3 really well, so that they can't use LTA can't really use their shocks without dodging Denmark, because that's what you have to do when you're doing all run, is you have to hoard those dodges and just chain them like lap 3. That way, like LTA can never have that beautiful shock that they want. But really, I mean, it doesn't seem to be working out too well for Denmark so far, even if that is the case, considering they're down around, what are we at right now? Minus 27. Not a huge deficit right now, but I think Denmark maybe have to change their game plan. They're going Grumble. I feel like if they go that, they definitely have to bag. If they're gonna go they're gonna go all run. They have to go courses, especially without a cannon, and the respawn cut on Grumble really just acts as a cannon. They have to go like more flat courses that they can schlag on easier, with less like cuts that save too much, or like less frequent cuts, because Shy Guy Beach is different from a raceway, because Shy Guy Beach has like one big cut, and Raceway, the track is a cut.
Dude, I was gonna say, I feel like Shy Guy Beach is kind of similar in that the whole track feels like a shortcut in its own way. But Raceway perhaps even more so. Going into this this GP, I think I figured I'd talk about something like a little more outside of the game. I think from my understanding, one of the difficulties of LTA is just like from a mentality standpoint, and that's why, you know, they were hoping Jorge would play, is apparently he's a pretty strong and positive force not only when it comes to actually playing the game, but also from just the mentality and like the energy he brings to the team. And it sounds like when the going gets tough, LTA start to struggle in that regard. Right now they have the lead, but I wonder if Denmark, if they're able to fire back and start winning a few races, if the wheels kind of start to fall off of the LTA bus and they crumble a bit more. If it's kind of like a domino effect, if you will. We'll kind of see how that all plays out. LTA finding a blue, getting Kasper out of first likely. Brawley may be hanging onto a shroom here. I didn't see him with any back spam in the cave. Unfortunately, losing his star, Yasu, he thought he was going to avoid the POW with the timing from where he was in the air off the platform, but unfortunately just barely missed it. And then the shock coming out, and quite a few of LTA dodging. I think Brawley broke away in the cut there, and a few of their mid-pack members dodging as well.
Yeah, Blue's being thrown for both of our streamers. Gonna see what happens lap 3 here. Lap 3 Grumble tight pack means pretty much anything can happen. Thinking about the shock status right now. Someone's building up. I'd love to give a shout out to Jorge after the end of this race, because I think he's an amazing player. Really hope he ends up playing for Latin America. We have 2 of Denmark and Make going into the cut right now. I think Denmark's going to land first. That's going to... Oh, no, they're 2-3 because Brawley has a lot of breakaway. 2-3... Oh, not really good. But I think that's a 1-4-5 for LTA right there. I thought Denmark had a better race going, and they're going to end up being top 2 after the respawn, but Brawley ended up having a good amount of a breakaway.
And we get 2, 5, 6, 7, 9. That is worse than it looked, honestly. From our perspective at the end, I think it looked like at least like 3, 4 on the side of Denmark, and it unfortunately just did not work out that way. Brawley basically had the race all to himself, even with a blue. Was just so far ahead because of that cannon dodge. He took the I see, now you got me calling it a cannon. He took the respawn lap 2 while he was in second place, and also dodged and just had a massive break. And even with 2 of Denmark taking the cut at the end, Mike was able to navigate himself into a top spot there still. And it just did not work out. They keep losing races by small margins. It's like -5, -9, like, but if you keep doing that for the duration of an entire war, it starts to add up quite a bit. And at this point, they're down 36, a difference that is like still swingable in their favor, but it's more the trend that has me worried. It's everything just seems to be going in LTA's favor, and this 5-run strat not quite working out as well as we may have hoped, especially after that first race.
There's one thing that that is a plus to all running that is pretty much like we got a GC and MC out here from Denmark. I'm also really happy to see this. I think this is just the type of course they need. A flat course with one cut they can really play around and schlag around and hopefully hold these bottom spots. But as you were saying, the thing about all run is that the fact that you have another player in the other team getting 0 every race is that you don't see blowouts normally. Like, you're only going to have small race losses because the most a team, I don't think because when you top 5, I believe you win by 41, but I think the most you can win a race by when you have someone bagging like that, I think a top 4-10 is like a plus 28. I might be wrong in that, it could be even less. But Denmark holding a lot of the bottom spots right now, but it's a really tight pack. Yasu holding the bill, just gonna bank on like dodging Jaggy shock, but if they keep these bottom, okay, there we go, good. I was gonna say, if he held on to that bill for too long, he'd be banking on Jaggy shock, but if there were too many bottom spots, they would have just held it the whole time.
Oh, tried to take Mike out with those bananas there. Unfortunately, does not work out. He's going to be able to hang on to his top spot. Psych, as the better player between the two of us, I have to know, has Nightfall misled me? Is this somehow a great 5-run track, or are we just cracked in Nightfall and we don't actually know what we're doing?
Well, the reason why Nightfall probably knows about it is because Masta has told you about it, and Masta has played with me, and I have always called this like the best or one of the best all-running courses. We have a shock out. It looks like LTA's. Gomez is going to dodge in his bill, but lands him into a green. We call it a Walmart bill over here. LTA Edu ends up coming up. Don't know if that was a lag mega or not. And he's going to end up megaing Kasper, and LTA taking up a lot of the top 5 right now. I think that might be a 2-5 for them, or a 3-4-5.
Oh no. That's a bit of a disaster, if I may. That shock, unfortunately, swinging quite a bit. It looked like Gomez wasn't going to have a good race, but it still ended up working out. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Whoa. I think the thing, too, what kind of sealed it there, instead of giving like Denmark any opportunity to catch up and close in on top spots at the end, that mega pull from Akmi was just absolutely brutal. Because he immediately dodged from his star, getting into a top position, and then got a mega that just instantly got Kasper out of threatening the top spots at all. And then unfortunately the other Denmark racers just were not close enough to the front of the pack to really be any threat at the end.
Really, we were talking about it before the shock interrupted, and we had talked about the whole situation. But GCN Mario Circuit works really well as the all-run course, just in the fact that it's a short course that you could have a good amount of your team front run on, and at the same time, it has like it only has one real cut that you can play around in a huge box gap. So if you hold these dodges to use on lap 3 around that, because like everybody wants to shock at the first set or like a little bit after, but if you chain your dodges enough around there, you can use the other team's shock to your advantage, or you can make it so they never really use that shock correctly. But I don't know if Denmark was able to do that. You can also stop troll or take boxes around that first set, because if you shut people down a little bit after that first set and they're idleness into that those first 2 corners, GC and MC, you can really mess them up. But obviously Denmark is not able to do that, and now we have top 4 into Rainbow Road from LTA. That is as good as you can get. You got a bagging course when the other team is all running. You have Rainbow Road, where if you're able to keep your composure and keep those top spots, which they seem to be doing right now with the top 3 from LTA, I think, with Raleigh in 3rd behind Edu, that looks like success for them. We all know how much of a great running course this is. Lots of boost panels to even reconcile any blues that could come to them. As long as they don't bump each other off here, and Denmark's not cheese something in 9th. We actually have Ice in 3rd, though, holding up the fort, and Yasu in 4th. So they're going to be hopefully chain through items, trying to cheese any reds that can get them on the straight. But Yasu maybe trying his best to chain for a blue, because that's really all they can hope for at this point. If I was on LTA's side, I would just be trying to do a lap 2 shock and just have that top 2 break away, with Denmark having hopefully no hopes of getting a 9th place shock on lap 3 to counter.
Yeah, this seems like a really solid top 2 because of that. Because you're just like more likely to control top 2, more likely to control shock. My bad, and then and just keep your top 2 for the duration of the race. Yasu with this bill in 6th. He's found himself with the bill quite often in this war, at least from our perspective. And we'll see if he does a little more with it here.
There it is.
Finding himself in a dodge. He knows they're going to dodge top 2, so he may as well benefit from it. Doing a bit more work with it than in the previous couple races where he's had it. I don't know if he's actually really going to close in on this top 2 by that much. There's still a decent distance between him and Mike, but you know, him and Ice kind of doing their best to hold 3-4. At this point, you know, you might have to just play to kind of like mitigate the damage. 3-4-5-6 on the side of Denmark right now. You just kind of have to hang on to it.
Yeah, it's a lap 2 shock, dodging top 2. When you have the other teams all running, like, why not? It's free. There's the first blue. It's going to get them, but probably around the boost panels, and the fib just sends Yasu off. That's going to send him into no man's land. They end up dodging the blue in the cannon anyways. Probably a call out from somebody, nearly dodging that fib out of the cannon. There's a lot trying to get into Mink's way right now, and there's actually a shot coming out from Denmark.
Wait, that's
the date's been out. Yeah, that's really good. Maybe if they can spam a blue in 4th right now, that is their like chance. But even still, no, it's too late. That's going to be a top 2 for LTA, and unless there is a huge throw, that's definitely a race win. But Denmark holding 3-4-5, so mitigating the damage. Maybe that's a 3-4-5-6-7, I think. Let's see. I thought LTA might have bottom 3, but I believe there might be a Denmark in the back there. We're about to see. I think we might have been a close race either way. No, so that's actually gonna be a race win for Denmark, despite all of that. With that cheese shock in 9th on lap 3, getting everybody in the cannon, they're gonna pull out with a win from that somehow.
Yeah, honestly insane that they managed to make that work. It's a +1 race, but you know, better than it swinging even more in LTA's favor. Going into this last GP, they're down by 64 points, so they need some pretty dramatic races here to be able to swing it. Not looking really good for them, admittedly, but there's still, you know, a decent chance that they can make this work. They're certainly not out of it. They can get just like 2 big races that swing by like 20 points each. All of a sudden, this becomes a bit of a game. You know, we'll kind of get an idea of how it's going to work out across just these next 2, though, because if you can't really start coming back within the scope of those like next 2 races, then it's probably sealed up, because you're not really counting on I think counting on a top 5 or a top 4, like 6, or any combination of like that many top spots. You know, it becomes a bit of a gamble at this point with and with how good the players on LTA are. I just don't really see that being possible.
Yeah. Really, Denmark kind of proving this wrong, but all run really does come down to just track pick, and we saw GC and MC come out from them. Obviously, them playing it a little wrong. Maybe they're just not used to it. They don't seem to be really adapting to the way they're playing on all run right now from the side of Denmark. Like I haven't seen much of this from Yasu's point of view. He's been holding up dodges, which is good, but you need a good mix. You need like an even mix of players that are dedicated to running in the race, players that are dedicated to schlagging, and players that are dedicated to holding dodges no matter what, and just waiting for that lap-free chain and saying to the team, like, you are never going to be able to use a shot that does not dodge one of us. Like, that is the important part. But we're on BC3 now, so everything I said is out the window, because we are on the bouncy house of Mario Kart. We're in the fun zone, where everybody, we're going to have a really quick cut from Make. Amazing, that was really clean. People are going to be falling off. We're going to have a weird split pack, maybe. Stop trolling still does matter here, and cut blocking as well. Making sure that your mid spots are chaining for those blues, because we all know, like, obviously from Mike right now, how breakaways can manifest here. Still all running. I believe we have like a top 2 from LTA right now. If they're going to block cut, I don't know the status of Denmark and their ultra taking status, but I believe that is one of their gates back into this race.
Honestly, I think with how quickly he did that cut and how the first lap worked out, I'm kind of surprised the pack was just so tight throughout the first lap, like at this point in the race. Chéron taking ultra there, it looks like, because cut was definitely blocked, at least judging from the angle that he approached the cut at. Are experiencing a little stream lag out of Mike, but we seem to be back. He's gonna try to take Chéron out of first, while Chéron returns back spam from the front. I think LTA is still in 2-3 from what I saw, or 2-3-4.
Something of the sort. I'm trying to watch Jaggy right now to see if he's gonna end up getting Shock. I'd imagine with the fact that I don't know, they might have it right now. Shock's usually just a mitigator in this course, but Make has a Sherwin second right now, so we're gonna see if he can take another clean cut. We have Yasu holding a Mega. I'm gonna guess he's gonna end up using this soon, because they might Shock to prevent from Denmark taking cut. We're gonna see what happens here. It's all gonna come down to this cut taking. I haven't seen many people go for Ultra this race, and there's a Shock. Some player dodged.
Yasu
You'll see them coming up in a second.
Make it, I don't think. And then Mike finding himself in first place towards the end. Wow, LTA with the top 2, Brawley in second as well. And is that Adu in third? So I think this might be an LTA top 3. With that, I think Denmark is, this is a huge mountain to climb. I don't think that this is really possible at this point. It's Yasu just shrooming up, just a little hopeless. Oh yeah, that's gonna be 8-9 on the side of Denmark. Gonna be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh, there, yeah, that's
top 4. Wow.
Starting off, going into the final GP, being down in the 60s, and then getting top 4'd on a track like BC3, which normally tilts. It's very dividing and tilts some people. That's got to be a pretty strong mental hit.
Yeah.
Don't know what Denmark's gonna be able to do. They are 5 running, so they have the potential still, because it's harder for, in general. You look at it this way: one team can get a top 5, the other can't. But that's looking at it pretty narrowly. Don't know what they're gonna try to pick to mitigate. I'd really just like to see some more flat courses from them. I think their GC and MC pick was good and didn't play out the race. They're going MC3 now. I think a really good all-running course. I'm happy to see that from them. It also dissipates the top spots. Gonna have to go back to what I did in the Japan match and try to decipher the courses in Japanese. We have looks like we have Moonview on, I believe. I see Moonview, DDR. And I can't do the rest. It's as far as I can go. Let's see what we're gonna get.
Yeah, it's MC3. I think this is
Furio.
I forget this one.
I
have a Japanese disc at home that I use sometimes that I just have to like kind of go off of weird recognition.
There we go.
And Warriors Gold Mine. Who would have thought? So, given where we are, I think Denmark, I hope they're aware, at least. They have something to play for still. They want to reduce the point deficit as much as possible. There's a pretty decent likelihood that this group goes into some sort of multi-way tie, right? Because there's not just the match win that's important. It's also the margin that you win by. And depending on how LTA does in the rest of the group, and depending on how the other two teams do in the group as well, there may be a situation where it comes down to point differential to decide who gets out. And you need to make sure that you have the appropriate buffer. LTA, I will say, LTA finding themselves with a lot of blues, it feels like. Every time Denmark has tried to break away, they've gotten blued out of first. It feels pretty brutal. Denmark's still having a lead. Yasu finding himself in first, but Mike and one more member of LTA in 2-3 right now. I kind of feel bad for them. Denmark seem to be falling apart.
Yeah, especially situation we're in right now. If Jaggy gets shocked, that's just gonna be it. It's gonna be an easy TS in the Yasu. Possibly Denmark could come up with a bunch of dodges, but I think at this point, after that race they just had, they're just trying to mitigate plus minus at this point. It's sad to say. We're gonna see what happens here. I'd imagine they might hold because this could be predictable, but yep, there it is. Trying to see. I think we had about 3 dodgers coming up. I would imagine at least a few of those are Denmark. It's one.
Absolutely brutal, man. Because they again, like, not even a blue in that situation, but just whenever Denmark is in first, they just do not have a way to hang on to it. And this is going to be at least a top 2 for LTA. Pretty much sealing the deal. The point differential getting worse and worse. Denmark really struggling with their 5-run strategy. Them getting so few shocks definitely affecting the way this has worked out. And the 5-run not really being optimized. 3, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the side of Denmark.
Yeah, it's sad to see because, like you said at the beginning of the cast, I wholly and fully believe, and you talk about Jasmine, that it is an unoptimized meta. I feel like I'm patting myself on the back, but I've done a good amount myself to optimize it, and I know Masta out there has done it a bit with Gun and Team France and convinced them on it, and I think there really can be more put into it, especially if top teams did. But I don't see. I think just not bagging on these cannon courses and picking stuff like Grumble when you're all running it really doesn't do you good. I'm not sure. I'd really like to see them hopefully come back and rethink their strategies for the next match, but it did not work out this time.
Yeah, I hope
they're going MC3 now, which is good, though.
I hope they don't get too demotivated from this, because I think that's also something to worry about. Is like, you can kind of come into World Cup with like some sort of skepticism about your performance and not be very confident, and then you come into your first match and you get absolutely stomped, and you kind of walk away from that feeling like, man, I don't even want to play the other matches. It's like, I don't even think we'll do that good. But you have to kind of reset, and if you can't perform well in this specific one, you have 2 more to go, where like the score is reset, you have a full opportunity to kind of approach with a fresh start. And I really hope Denmark isn't too shaken by this, because LTA was a really solid team coming into this tournament, and it's why they were in that second tier of seeded teams. So I wouldn't be too shaken up about losing to them, and you can kind of like reform your strategy, like reform your mental to get ready for the other 2 matches at the very least.
Not to fully disconnect from what's happening in the race, however, the war is mathematically over at this point, so we kind of can. I believe that they do have a good shot at winning their 2 other matches. I would say that I'd say that Denmark definitely has a good chance over Ireland, and also US West, because I feel like the players on US West, specifically Kilo and TK, who are their star players, I think Kasper and Chéron have a good amount of experience playing against with like MW versus Wollywogs and like D1 wars. So I think they definitely do still have a shot at this. compared to like even other teams, the groups that have lost their first match. So I really hope they do go together in the end here. Looks like we have Mike in first going into the last lap of the yard. Did not catch who was second. He's doing the half sand hop. I respect it. Doesn't seem like there's any shot to dodge people in the Ultra right now. Don't know what's going on. We have Yasu taking up the Ultra in 9th. Just waiting to see. It might be like a last set shock, I would imagine. LTA has definitely been a fan of the very late shocks this war. I've seen like even later than after first set. I think Denmark definitely was trying a bit to like play around the other team's shock, which is really just like the name of all run, because I think they forced LTA into using these late shocks. They're gonna see if they use one right here.
It does seem like Denmark is getting a lot of the spots behind first at the very least. Or is that, yeah, a little dodge at the end? So I think that's 2, 3. Brawley pulling up in 4th at the end. Still a winning race from LTA as far as I can tell. But at this point, I guess all you can ask from Denmark is to make it, just not as bad as possible. 2, 3, 6, 7, 9 out of that one.
Yeah, and that's gonna close it out. Mike or Make. Oh, actually, there's one more race. I got deceived because I saw Mike in the 40s, and I had bamboozled myself. I am so sorry. Make on his way to a 60 in the final GP. I'd also like to shout out to Brawley for making me call Mike Make. Don't worry, guys. I'm fully aware. It's just that it's kind of ingrained in my vocabulary right now. Don't worry. I'm aware.
Brawley has a way of influencing people's habits and words and pronunciation, man. He gets in my head. I spent too much time with that guy.
All of you can understand, I'm sure. In the or you and I are, so.
Yeah, we a lot of time in Nightfall and Wally Wogs calls, if you will. That being said, one race to go, and we're gonna quickly get into the Netherlands versus Finland, I believe. Right after this war is kind of wrapped up, we'll have a brief moment to kind of catch ourselves. I might pour a little coffee, but then we'll go ahead and go check out the last 6 races, or last 5 races of that war. We want to show you the tail end of that. It sounds like the Netherlands is up right now, 221 to 145 after 6 races. And we'll be heading into Toad's factory for the last race of LTA versus Denmark. Man, what a war it's been. It felt so promising in that first race from Denmark. It felt like it was possible, and then the lead just kind of slowly grew, and then just grew by more and more and more. It was like an exponential function. It just kept climbing, and the races got worse and worse. So I really hope Denmark can take some time after this one and kind of regroup and figure things out. And we'll see if Mike can nab his 60 at the end of this war.
Yeah, that seems to be the highlight right now. We've done a lot of spotlight onto Denmark. Oh, and then a dodge in the blue. Good stuff from Make there. I'd like to highlight LTA because I feel like we've done a lot of just like talking about Denmark in all run, but I'm really happy to see them get this win because their team is, I definitely like, I don't know, just the players in it. They seem like they were scrimming. If they were scrimming a lot, I imagine they cared a lot about performing in this. And I'm really happy to see him succeed. I would love to see Jorge play. Kind of wanted to give a player spotlight to him, if it's all right, because he's not able to play. I don't even know if he can play this weekend, but really old player, like one of the best TTers of his time. Also, like we have a star drop from Jaggy. And it's dodging it first!
Oh no! Just absolutely styling on Denmark now. Oh my goodness! If this is absolutely brutal. If he goes for Shroomless here just for kicks, just rock it. Just do it, man. Oh no, he's gonna be safe. He wants that 60. He wants that 60. But I cannot believe this, man. This is so disrespectful. This is so. Oh my god. A 60 out of Mike coming out at the end. Denmark falling apart. It's over. It's been over. Yasu finding himself in second. It looks like LTA just came to like a complete stop at the end. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The war is just over off that.
I had a smile on my face I had a smile on my face all lap 3, just like imagining, just imagine the serotonin rush of being about to 60, then getting dropped a ground star by your bagger into a dodge in first. Imagine that, dude. Oh my god, dude. God bless.
That is
stuff.
the dream.
60 from Mike. Not the first 60 of the World Cup because we had the Sal effect in the play-in stage, but there you go. That closes it out finally. Oof, man.
That's it.
Is that a plus 100? Is that another 100 plus minus?
Indeed, it is a win by 102.